behalf of Anne and Sue and the family, thank you so much today for your attendance to honour their beloved Fred. At times like these, we're reminded also of our own mortality and matters of death and judgment. And for those of us, once again, who trust in Christ, it's an opportunity to proclaim the hope that Christ is risen and that those who believe in him will rise with him. And even now, we are yet still united with them.
From Mum, Fred's dear wife Anne. My husband Fred was born in Hull, East Yorkshire, on the 9th of February 1928 to Edith and William Gregory. He had 3 brothers and 2 sisters. He was the 4th son and was adored by them all. He was the quietest of the family. He was a very shy and introverted man, but always smiling and had very sparkly eyes, which everyone noticed and commented on. He was a wonderful husband and a caring and loving dad to our 2 children. He never had a wrong word for anyone. He never took time off work except when the engineers at his work were on strike, and he was forced to come out because of it being a closed shop, and that left us desperately hard up. He would bike 10 miles to work at a very hard job, and then bike another 10 miles in all weathers to a friend who had a market garden, work in a greenhouse, and come home exhausted just to supplement our wages. We had 63 years of married life together and were hardly apart except for 3 full weeks when I had to take my elderly mother to see my sister. All he wanted to do was to provide for myself and our 2 children, who he dearly loved. He adored his little girl Susan and was so very proud and loved his son Philip. He worked with Phil on many jobs and loved being with him. Fred was a talented artist, though he never thought that they were good enough. He used to love to sit and draw for hours on end. And Phil has inherited the great gift of being a talented artist from his dad. We've had our ups and downs like any other family, but they were few and far between. The one thing he really loved to do was play soccer on a Saturday afternoon, and he was the captain of his team, Westella and Willoughby. We used to cycle there on our tandem bike, with Sue in the front on the seat and Phil on the back on the baby seat, which was interesting.
My dad was the most lovely, gentle, kind, thoughtful, hard-working person I have ever met. He would do anything for anyone, especially his family. When my brother Phil and I were kids, we used to sit at the window waiting for him to come home from work. On Thursday it was payday and he would bring us 2 ounces of lollies and a comic each. Mum and Dad were always struggling financially, but they would always find the money for these little treasures for us. Dad was always making me laugh. He would get his words wrong, and because it made me laugh, he would keep doing it. I remember one Christmas we had the movie Tom Thumb on the TV, and the toys came alive at night. One of the toys was a yawning man, and as soon as my dad saw this, he would say, "Oh no," as he always ended up asleep if someone started yawning. He had a wonderful sense of humour and we laughed together for hours. I always felt safe and loved when my dad was around. My dad was my rock for so many years when I was on my own with my sons Dave and Andrew when they were younger. All we had to do was ask and Mum and Dad were there immediately. I would not have coped so well without their help and support. I would give my dad a list of jobs that needed doing and tell him there was no rush, but he would have them done so quickly that I had to find more for him to do. I can never find the word to say how much I love and appreciate my lovely dad.
Don't know whether you can see that, but that's a photograph of our brother Phil. And I'm speaking for him now. For my dad. What is a dad? What does the word mean to you? Does it give an image of a man who is always there to give advice, help and guide you through matters of life, advise you through financial matters or matters of the heart? Perhaps to some this is what a dad is. My dad couldn't help with these things. He was never guided through his dad and these things. What my dad gave me was his mantle. It cannot be taught or asserted. It can only be gained through admiration, love and adoration. My dad was a simple man with simple ideas about life. He strived to provide for the people who he loved, the people who made his life complete. He did this without complaint and without any expectation from us. He asked for nothing in return. He didn't have to ask us to love him. He didn't need to. He had no formal skills, no qualification, but innumerable talents. He could turn his hand to anything, and often did for the love of his family. He knew what we needed, and he would provide it. And it was all provided with love. He was always there. He will always be there.